This is the 5 Point Play Podcast, the diehard Duke basketball fans podcast. We are down a few members of our regular crew today, but we are joined by a guest, Ryan, from the Keepin It Orange and Blue podcast covering Illinois. Welcome, Ryan. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you. Love the old classic NBC
Right.
intro music brings me back to like the Michael Jordan in the 90s.
Yep.
Sorry, Yeah.
That's right.
like classic.
Yeah.
Oh man, those are the days, man. NBC. Who's using that music right now? Is it
Big East, I think. I think the
Big
Big
East
East. I like to say we took credit for it because we've been around. We've been using it longer than they have.
Yeah, I love it though. Yeah, so
Coming back next year, though.
Yep.
Glad to join you guys, and going to be a big game Saturday night. So looking forward to it.
Absolutely, man. I'm excited for this game. Number one, it helps Duke in particular because the ACC is down. I think this was scheduled, with purpose by our AD and our head coach, obviously, to create some opportunities to get some tough games that we're not going to get in conference towards the end of the season. So, and honestly, man, I think this is good for college basketball, bringing back these late season non-con games. You used to see a lot of them. They went away completely when all these conferences became mega conferences and you didn't have room in your schedule for it. So I do like to see these types of things return for college basketball in general.
Yeah, I remember, what was it? It was the Ron Artest, like Eric Barkley years where Duke played St. John's back in like 2000, 99. You guys remember?
Absolutely.
Jack, how old are you, Jack?
The last time Duke lost to St. John's at Cameron, I was a few weeks old.
No, but I mean, this game was at Madison Square Garden, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't alive for that one.
Okay. Yeah. So
it would have been like 2000 or so, I think.
Yeah.
It was 99.
Yeah, Duke used to do stuff like this later in the season, and the only reason I brought that up is because this game's at Madison Square Garden, so it's like perfectly. It's pretty much the same situation, except that it's Illinois, and Illinois is going to be a good net. I think Illinois' net's in the top 20 still. I think it's So it's a great opportunity for both. Let's just keep it real. So. As the Keepin It Orange and Blue podcast. That's kind of why I named it that, because I like to keep it real. And what's funny is a lot of people think it's like, orange and blue, drinking the orange and blue. I'm like, no, it's not like a fan podcast where we like only see the good and we just think we're going to win the national championship every year. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like we keep it real. So I think, for Illinois, it's a quad 1A type game, on neutral court. It's not in, Durham, and for Duke, it's not going to be a quad 2 loss if they do lose, It's going to be a quad 1 win for them if they do win, because Illinois is in the top 20 of the net. So, even though Illinois has struggled of late with injuries and illnesses, Illinois is dangerous, and this is going to be a good test for both teams. So I think it's a lot to dive into.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about just the team in general. I know who was it that just went out was it Morez Johnson that just went out?
Yeah. So Morez Johnson was really coming into his own. He was a top 40 national recruit. I think it was like 31 nationally, borderline 5-star. He's 6'9.5", 235 pounds. He's was just coming into his own, where he'd been starting for the last few weeks for Illinois. Not necessarily like a jump shooting threat per se right now, but
sure.
If you look at his per 40-minute stats, the dude was averaging like 15 rebounds. So,
throw that stuff
in his short minute span, I think he was 4th in the Big Ten in offensive rebounding, and he's a freshman. He basically gives Illinois a very a tough dude inside to go rebound, and he's a monster with putbacks. I mean, I wish you could find some of the highlights of him against Ohio State, because he was an animal. I think 14 points, 15 rebounds against Ohio State. So that's a big loss for Illinois, because Illinois was doing, if you guys have seen the trend around, I've watched plenty of Duke games, but in the Big Ten, it's playing dual bigs. It's really big. It's a big deal, right? So if you look at Michigan, they got Danny Wolf and Vladimir Golden, and you look at Maryland, you got Derek Queen and Julian Reese. Michigan State's doing Kohler and they have one other big that they like to use. And then Purdue's got First and Kaufman Wren. So Illinois was Ivicic and Merez Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically like they have the 5 Ivicic, who is a pretty good 3-point shooter. He's like 35%.
Yep.
And then you got Merez Johnson, who was like the Thunder. He's the 4-man, but can guard. He actually guarded Cooper Flagg in the Jordan game.
Okay.
So Merez Johnson played in the Jordan brand game with Cooper Flagg, so they knew each other.
Yep.
And I think they would have probably guarded him with Cooper quite a bit. Not necessarily saying it would have been successful all very often, but I think more than not,
right,
compared to some of the other guys Illinois is going to throw at him. He's just a 6'9" guy that's real athletic that can go get him an alley-oop that is a monster. Anyway, he broke his wrist blocking a shot against Michigan State last weekend. Very unfortunate. Sounds like there's a possibility he can come back for the NCAA tournament. So
that's good news. That's a good news, at least. I didn't know if that was going to cost him a season or not.
Yeah, it sounds like it could be just a fracture, a small fracture that could heal within 4 weeks. I think 5 weeks from when it happened is when the NCAA tournament starts. So I think that's that time. That's right around where it's like we think he might be able to get back. So fingers crossed for Merez Johnson.
Now, have you noticed that in the before we get to some of the other players on the team, have you noticed that this year, because you brought it up with the Big Ten, I feel like it's kind of the same thing, right? Except for maybe Rutgers and maybe Washington, but most of the teams in the Big Ten do play that 2 big set. It feels like it's a staple of the conference, usually year in and year out anyway, but this year in particular, you guys have a lot of good post players in the league, and it seems like that's kind of been the style for the league this year, right? Because Duke is going to play that style. I mean, we're going to have 2 bigs on the floor at most times during this game.
Yeah, so if you notice, the best teams in the Big Ten play that, and if you don't have that, you're going to struggle.
Exactly. That's what it seemed like anyway.
Yeah, so if you look at the top 6 or 7, and Illinois was 6 or 7, and then, as I mentioned, Maryland, Purdue, Michigan, all the way up to 1 with Michigan, they play the 2 big set. And then the teams that are middling in there, like Indiana's trying that with Ballo and Malik Renew. But they've just had such really bad shooting for the year, and they've struggled. So, but yeah, and Ohio State tries it as well. I've watched a lot of ACC games, but it's the staple in the Big Ten. If you're going to win, you got to have 2 bigs. Yeah. One that can play the pick and pop, one that's a shooting threat, and then one that can go get him a bucket in the post. So if you don't have that, you're going to struggle.
Sure. Absolutely.
I do want to express my condolences, given that you said you've watched a lot of ACC this year. It frankly has not been great basketball outside of Duke.
I'm just a ball junkie, probably like you guys. So I have ACC. So I live in Illinois, and I subscribe to. I get the ACC network. I get SEC network.
Yep.
Of course, I have Peacock, and then Big Ten network. So I try not to miss anything. And so, don't get me wrong. I'm glad I didn't watch the Boston College Virginia Tech game, but I did.
Just so you know, AC is a Virginia Tech alum. So
I didn't watch it either.
Oh my goodness! What's happening there, man?
I thought
what's his? Is it White?
Mike Young.
Mike Young. I thought Mike Young was going to have him kind of be in a tournament team every year because he started out really well there. So as you know, former Illinois guard Chester Frazier was an assistant there.
Yep.
And then
he was great.
Yeah, he was probably a really good recruiter and an asset defensively for Virginia Tech. When he left, I guarantee you there was a hole there.
It was a big loss.
So and now he's at West Virginia. So anyway, I try to watch as many games as I can, and sometimes I stumble upon, like I watched the Clemson Duke game. I've watched. I root just for you guys. I'm really hoping North Carolina doesn't make the tournament this year, just because like they won't deserve it. They don't.
No, they don't.
And so you guys just need to stomp a mud hole in them in the final game of the year. That's the only way they make the tournament. You guys know this. The chair of the committee is North Carolina's athletic director, and I can guarantee both of you, if they somehow beat you guys in the last game of the year, they're going to make
correct.
He will.
I've been saying this all year.
You are correct.
So, because like there's just no other quad 1 opportunities for them to, and They're barely getting by Syracuse, in the Carrier Dome. I watched some of that game. But anyway, I'm a ball junkie, so I watch as much as I can. But, I've been impressed with Duke, and obviously in Clemson is just – it's not really a surprise. They made the Elite Eight last year, and I think their coach is he's kind of like a Matt Painter type of guy for me. Like he's a builder, right? He connects, and he's good for the ACC. So, I'm again. I know I'm getting off topic here, but
you're good. You're good. This is great. This is great.
Whatever about Illinois, you guys want to get into player wise, I'm ready to. There's just so much going on with Illinois right now. Illinois fans are like in a tailspin because Avisa, the big man I was talking about. So for you guys and your fans of Duke, I want to, they can learn a little bit here. So Illinois, they've got three foreign players. One from Canada, Will Riley, foreign from Canada. It's international ball. He's right now somewhere between 20 and 30 on most mock picks. He's the highest rated recruit Illinois has had in like 20 some years. And he's coming into his own at the moment, just like Merez was. And he basically is like a 2 guard, but he's 6'8".
Yeah, he's been playing the 6-man role for you guys, right?
Yeah. Really thin, but he's herky-jerky, but he's just tough. He's one of those guys that can just go get a basket. He's 6'8". It's hard for guys, 2 men to guard him, so
right.
And then Tomislav Avicic, he's a 7'1", 21-year-old sophomore. So it's his first year playing college ball. But there were some issues about, did he play professionally over there in Europe? So they took a year of eligibility away from him. So he's 7'1". He's averaging 13 points and 8 rebounds a game. He shoots like 35% from 3. He's a really good stretch big. So he had mono and missed 3 games over the course of 2 weeks, starting in late January, mid-January till early February. And Illinois lost 2 of those 3. So that really hurt them. And he just came back, right? So the second game back, he has a high ankle sprain, okay? And he guts it out at Rutgers. They lose that game because he hurt his ankle really bad. And he's just a key cog for them. So he hurts his ankle, he guts it out, but you can tell he's not the same guy. So he's been playing on that high ankle sprain for over a week now. And then against Wisconsin last night, after he just had got done recovering from mono, he got the flu. So he's playing with 80% conditioning from mono, a high ankle sprain, and then he's barfing all day long and still played. He's lost 7 pounds over the last 3 weeks. So that's kind of what you saw Wisconsin blow Illinois out last night. Right. They're just hurt. They didn't have Merez. Their 7'1" big was playing as a half himself, So, and it was a competitive game till the final 6 minutes. It was like an 8 to 9 point game for a good chunk of that second half. So,
right.
And then of course KJ, which is Illinois fans, Kasparis Jakusionis, who is a top 10 pick on every mock draft. He'll be a lottery pick.
Yeah.
He's 6'5". He's a big body guard. He's already built. He's an NBA body already. He is turnover prone. That is the biggest issue Illinois fans have with him. I'm sure Underwood would tell you the same thing. But when you get a guy who's going to go in the top 10 of the NBA draft, you're not just going to say, well, we're not going to play you, So
right.
He'll give you 5 turnovers a game, but he'll give you 5 to 7 assists as well. And he's averaging 16 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists right now. So he's going to be the spoon that stirs the drink,
Yeah.
They do a lot of high ball screen, pick and roll, pick and pop. That's kind of why he chose Illinois, because Brad Underwood pretty much guaranteed him, like, hey, we're going to run what you're going to run in offense in the NBA, and this is all we're going to do. So you can showcase yourself and, just come do your thing. And he is a master of it, but at times he gets rattled with pressure, with guys up in his grill, and sometimes multiple guys come to double him. He'll struggle with that a little bit. So But those three names, Will Riley, Tomislav Isic, and Kasparis Jakusionis, are really the big three. With Merez not playing,
right?
But there's some role players who had a big game. Dre Gibbs Lawhorn had a big game last night.
Okay,
Wisconsin had 17 points off the bench. He's basically, I don't know if you guys have one, but he's basically a guy off the bench. He's pretty much the most athletic guy on the team, but he can go get himself a bucket. Maybe not the best defender, but he can get to the rim pretty much on anybody, and he's got a really good pull-up game, but his three-point shot is probably his weakness right now.
Okay.
So what do we got? What do we got here?
While you're talking, I'm gonna throw up some highlights from the Maryland game.
Oh, okay. This wasn't good for Illinois.
Did you guys not win this one? I thought you won this. I'm sorry, I didn't want to pick one that you lost. I was trying to pick one that you guys won because I wanted to show our people.
So as we're okay, there's KJ. There's KJ. Okay, yeah. So there's KJ. But if you want to pick a good one for Illinois for the fans, go to the Ohio State game.
Okay.
This was a game where they didn't have Tomislav Isic.
Okay.
And Derek Queen and Julian Reese went rough shot here.
Oh yeah, I remember watching that. Queen went off.
Yeah, so the Ohio State game, as we talk, will be a fun one for Duke fans. Yeah, so look at that guy. That guy's going to be the number 8 pick probably in the draft. So anyway, Dre Gibbs Lawhorn has a huge dunk in that Ohio State highlight that you're going to watch.
In the Ohio State game, yeah, I'm gonna pull that one up.
Yeah, so he's.
So yeah. I will say really quick, Ryan. I'm sorry for.
Go ahead. I'm listening. I'm watching this too.
Duke doesn't really have like a like super athletic off the bench like will dunk on you, but they do have Isaiah Evans who will just shoot come off the bench and shoot 6 threes in quick succession and make 5 of them.
Okay.
They have that kind of a bucket off the bench who can struggle with defense at times.
I saw you had a player hurt his arm. What's up with that guy?
Malik Brown. He'll be out he'll be out for the Illinois game.
And I've heard from John Shire said he's like the heart and soul, the glue of the team.
He is.
On the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, it's say that again. Defensive side of the ball.
Yeah. Okay. He's an incredible defender. He can switch 1 through 5. He does some decent work on the boards, but he's not like a crazy rebounder. He's not. He's an opportunist. Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah.
There's KJ to Merez right there. Anyway.
Yeah, that's Merez right there, right?
Yeah, that was Merez. Yep. So I saw that and was hoping it wasn't going to be something super serious.
Right.
Yeah.
So hopefully he'll be back.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. It seems like it won't be enough to where he'll miss the tournament or anything like that. We'll just see how many games he misses the rest of this regular season. I think they might try to get some games without him. Honestly, just to make sure that they can work without him, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
I would describe Malik as like a disruptor. He deflects the ball like 5-6 times a game.
Is he the Syracuse transfer?
He is, yes.
Okay, because I remember him from a couple years ago when Syracuse came to Champaign, and they played in the final year of like the ACC Big Ten Challenge a few years ago.
Yep.
So he was on that team when they kind of
he was a freshman.
Yep, it was one of Boeheim's last years. I think it was his second to last year. So and Ohio State got up big on Illinois early. There's Merez right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's that guy. Like
that's definitely a big loss. That's definitely a big loss.
Yeah, and as these highlights continue as we talk, you'll see like, oh my, he's a man child. He's only 18 years old.
Yep.
He's 6'9", like I said, 235, and he's one that Illinois needs to pay up NIL wise to get back next year.
Sure.
He's just, trust me, Michigan State will be on his ass. Like
there's gonna be a lot of teams hunting him. So
there's KJ right there, Kasparis. He's really good with both hands. He's just he's got that Euro game down really well.
He's very mature. His game is very mature for being a first year. All that. Like, is he 18? Is he 19? Is he older?
He's 18.
Overseas? Okay.
Yep. So here's the thing with him. He played for FC Barcelona.
Yes.
And he played on their B team, but he also had moments where there's a V6 right there.
Yep.
Big man, 7'1", who can stretch the floor. He played on the A teams sparingly, but he practiced against all those guys, those pros that like every game. So he'd been playing against those. There's Will Riley.
Yep.
He'd been playing against these guys since he was 15. Here's Merez. showing you.
I really like his game, man. I do. I like his game.
Yeah. Like, so the thing is, like, the Big Ten announcers on Big Ten Network, FS1, and Fox, they all have to be biased, but there isn't one that does not love Morez Johnson.
Yeah, I like his game a lot.
Yeah, it's like, it's not like sexy, but it's like, I'm just gonna dunk on you. So
yep, board man gets paid. He's got that board man gets paid mentality.
Yep. So this was one of the better wins of late since Illinois has been struggling. Ohio State's been on a hot one of late. And they had just beaten Purdue in West Lafayette, which was a big win. So we were like worried. We're like, oh crap, like Illinois, this isn't going to be an easy one. And it wasn't. Ohio State was winning majority of this game, and then Illinois caught fire the last 6 minutes of the game. But anyway, so Ben Hummerkaus is another guy who he had a really nice night last night against Wisconsin. He's hit or miss. He'll go 0 for 6 one game from 3, and then he'll go 3 for 6 the next game. So,
so minus Morez, what, you guys go about 8 deep now?
7.
7. Okay.
Yeah, they'll use Kerry Booth sparingly.
Okay.
As a 6'10" guy, only because they need a body in there. You know what I mean? Like Tomislav and Ben Hummerkaus, who's like 6'9". Those guys are going to play the 5 and the 4. Tomislav's going to need a breather, so they'll put Kerry Booth in there for like maybe 2 minutes, and then or take Tomislav out a minute before the TV timeout, and then give him that little extra breather. Here's Morez again,
dude,
incoming. This game was just If you put this highlight on for anybody to be like, hey, what kind of player is Morez Johnson? You're like,
no, man.
Just watch this.
Honestly, I would have loved to see him this game in the Garden against Duke. I would have loved to see him play. Like I like his game a lot.
Yeah, so they're going to put the camera on him a bunch on Friday. They did last night. He's going to be sitting over there in his jacket, just like
him and Malik Brown both are going to get a lot of airtime.
Yeah. So Kylan Boswell, a transfer from Arizona.
Yeah, we're familiar.
Yeah,
we are familiar
from last year.
Yeah. Didn't he have a good game against you guys?
He had a fantastic game.
He was the reason. He and what's his name? The one who went pro. Why am I blanking on? Who was
Larson?
Pele Larson.
Pele Larson.
Those two, between those two, there was nothing. We didn't have a counter for those two in that game. That was the biggest thing. I mean, Caleb Love didn't really have a great game. I mean, he padded some stats at the end of the game, but those two were the ones that really they stirred the drink for them. They were the ones that really set things up for
Boswell. And here's the sad thing for Illinois fans: not Illinois fans are hate or love Boswell. He's a good defender, but like he's very Jekyll Hyde-ish offensively. Not like I said with Ben Hummerkaus.
Right.
Like Boswell just sometimes won't even take an open 3 at Illinois. Like he's real hesitant to shoot the 3. He'll dribble drives sometimes for no reason. When we're like, KJ set the table for you just to take an open shot. He really aggravates Brett Underwood a lot. So there's you saw Avicic's skill set. He's really good at the passing from the top of the key and finding cutters.
Yep.
So he's good at that. So, but Boswell's really frustrated Illinois fans because.
And it's so weird because last year he was so measured for Arizona. Like a lot of the talk about him last year is just how mature he was as a player and running the team and running that team in particular that had a lot of scoring options and a lot of NBA type talent. And he was able to kind of
Illinois fans were salivating for that. I don't know if he's just not comfortable yet still, or he's just back in his hometown, or he's putting too much pressure on himself. But it's to the point of where he's missed some wide open lefty layups. He just won't take open threes. He just drives into the rim. There's a V-sit showing you his footwork, and he's a lefty.
3-level scorer. 3-level scorer. He's good.
He's a nice talent.
Yes.
But so that's kind of where we're at with Boswell.
Is he related to the V-sit at Arkansas?
Yeah, they're actually twin brothers,
right?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, they're twin brothers. So I think personally Illinois has the better one. I think
I don't disagree.
Only because the Zvonimir at Arkansas is basically just a 3-point shooter.
Right.
He's Avicich here is showing how good of a passer he is, how good he can score in the posts. And here's Dre Gibbs Lawhorn. Enjoy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they'll show the replay of that, I think. He jumped from the B of the Big Ten logo.
That's athleticism right there. Wow.
Yeah, so he had 17 last night at Wisconsin. He's when you watch this highlight, he probably looks like a scary team. It's just that they're not healthy right now. So
Sure.
This isn't who you're playing Saturday, Duke fans.
Right.
But this is the team that everybody says that's not a 7 seed I want to play if you're a 2 seed. And luckily for Duke, you won't play them because you're not going to play Illinois again twice within 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So Duke, I've noticed that as well. They don't try to have matchups a second time like that unless it's like the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
So and there's Boswell finally deciding to shoot one, and that's kind of what's happened here. So anyway, as this highlight finishes up, we can talk for maybe 5-10 more minutes. What parts of the game are you kind of?
So no, I'll Gary stop the hype because I do want to talk about the game upcoming a little bit. Let's talk about, and we'll get to. I'll start with Jack on the Duke side. Jack, what do you think some of the keys are? Like, what's it going to take for Duke to win this game? Let's say, I want to keep it as neutral as we can. I really hope Illinois players are at least healthy going into the game because I want to see a good game. I don't want this to be all their players are sick and they're tired and winded and can't get up and down the floor. Like I want this to be a good game because this is such a cool opportunity.
Yeah. Totally. And I want to say before you get into it, I don't think you're going to see that. I think Avicic will be a little more healthy, rested. I'm pretty sure they're giving the guys off today off.
Yeah.
And then they'll probably maybe do light practice Thursday and then go at it Friday before they leave for New York.
Right.
So I'm not sitting here saying don't think they're going to be playing with and boots on their ankles.
right.
What you're saying, but the sickness should be better by then. But
Merez
Johnson is the one guy that will not be there.
Right, for sure. He won't be there for sure. But Jack, what are your keys for the Duke side to pull out a win this weekend?
The big thing I think is Mason Gillis needs to play. Mason Gillis is probably going to get a lot of center minutes. He needs to play quality defense at the center spot. Now he's very much a forward, but when Malik Brown was out with the knee sprain in the weeks leading up to the UNC game, Gillis was the one who filled in with Pat Gongba getting occasional minutes, but in the high level closer games, it was generally Gillis. It's going to be him, and Gillis does have experience playing in the Big Ten and against Illinois, obviously coming from Purdue. But
a lot of success against Illinois as well.
Yeah,
he had some big. He's a good big time shooter at Purdue.
Yes, and he's doing that now again at Duke too.
Yeah.
So I was like, he's going to go to Duke, and of course he's going to play Illinois again. And I'm like, he had
get rid of him, right?
Yeah, he had a couple big threes to help beat Illinois. One in West Lafayette, and then.
That's how we
last year. Yeah,
that's how we feel about Caleb Love. He went to Arizona. Now we played him in UNC, and now we played him in Arizona twice now. So it's like,
It was fun to send him away with a loss this year, though. But I think that's the key for Duke and AC. Like you said, I just want to see a good basketball game. I'm actually going to be there. I'm really excited.
Wow. Okay.
Jack will be in the building.
I will.
Duke usually sends nice group of fans to Madison Square Garden, don't they?
They call it Cameron North. It's a very heavy alumni base within 2-hour radius of New York.
Yeah. So it'll probably be a pro Duke crowd. Illinois will send a nice group of people, but for late February, like going to New York, probably not conducive to tons of people. But obviously, they had months to prepare to buy tickets.
Right.
And it's the national Fox game of the night, on Saturday, primetime hoops. Gus Johnson's going to annoy the crap out of you guys.
I love Gus, man. I love Gus.
Yeah, but he turns every little thing into this dramatization.
He does.
And I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's just a free throw, dude.
I think the last Duke game he might have done non-tournament at least was probably the Coach K 1K game, right? When we played St. John's in New York.
I was at that game too, so I don't know.
Yeah, you weren't watching that team, so
you probably didn't.
That's another one of those non-conference games. That's
that was the late season. That was the late season non-conference as well. I want to say that was the last time. I feel like that's the last time we played on Fox as well. Was the Coach K 1K game?
It might have been. It might have been the game that they lost in 2018 against St. John's at the Garden.
Okay.
So from my perspective, from the Illinois fan perspective and Illinois just perspective in general, I think there's just if Illinois wins this game, they're going to lock for the tournament, and they've already got 7 quad 1 wins. Nobody's believing in them right now. A bunch of the Illinois fan base is just down on them. They're kind of depressed. They know they're going to make the tournament, but it's like this team was thought to be talent, a team that could make this a second weekend and even a potential Final Four when they're healthy and stuff. And it's just sad because the team had just gotten so sick and injured the last month that it's like it's really just dampened everybody's spirits. So this is a time for Illinois to say, like, and I know Underwood will get them going. And there's a bunch of guys on this team they're quality players to say, like, your backs are against the wall here. No one thinks you're going to win this game. Like, just keep it real here. What do you have to lose? Like, let it all hang out. The star of the show is going to be Cooper Flagg. Duke's number 3, a number 1 seed projected. Yes, the NBA scouts will be there for KJ and Will Riley as well as Cooper Flagg and others, but the national audience is just probably going to be wanting to watch, Cooper. And yes, Illinois was picked in this matchup because they were highly thought of and a highly ranked team, to start the year. Well, earlier in the year they were, but you know what I mean. Most people thought Illinois was going to be a really good team this year. So don't let the 17-10 fool you for any Duke fans. It's more about if Illinois believes it can win Saturday, I think it's going to be a really good game. I'm not going to pick Illinois to win, but I can tell you that I think Illinois, this version of Illinois is definitely a lot better of an opponent than Duke's really been dealing with besides Clemson. If you look at all these games where it's just like it's not even a contest, it's like Stanford, Cal, whoever else you want to like. Even Illinois, I would even say is better than Wake Forest. So I think this is going to be a good game. Definitely enjoyable for sure. To me, I just want to see it be competitive. If Illinois can steal one, I think every Illini fan will be okay the rest of the year until the tournament.
I'm sure, right?
But it'd be okay. It'd be
that's a signature win. That would be a signature win for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. Kentucky got one. I know it was early, but and look at
and they have lived off of it the entire season, bro.
Yeah,
they won't stay away from us. They won't leave us alone.
They're like, Arkansas beat us at home, but we beat Duke.
Right. They won't leave us alone, man.
Yeah, they're like, oh, that's why we're better. Blue blood.
Right. At least the Kansas fans aren't talking.
Right. The Kentucky fans lost to BYU and then whoever it was, and then immediately they come back to right back to Duke fan pages on Twitter and just keep talking. It's like, leave us alone, man. You lost. Leave us alone.
Yeah. So, other than what we've discussed, last things about Illinois that you have questions on, or
I'll be interested to see if just kind of how because you guys have a team that has size that matches up with what we have, especially around the perimeter. We're being down Malik Brown. That is a size piece that we have on the interior that we lose. So we do have Pat Ngangba, but he's young, not quite as mobile. And I know Illinois does, even with the 2 bigs, likes to spread teams out. They'll play that kind of high post up.
Who's the big that barfed on the floor in that one game?
Oh,
that's Malawach. Yeah.
Okay, because I remember watching that game and I was like, whoa.
With him.
Yeah, he drank a lot of Gatorade really quickly and then checked immediately back in.
With him, it's like the last 3 games he's played. He's played intense. He's played like a full game. Like his 25 minutes have been a full 25 minutes, both sides of the ball, which is different from the start of the season. He was kind of inconsistent on both sides of the ball. If he was getting it going on the offensive side, then you're going to get a good defensive effort out of him. If he's not involved on he's not really involved in the game. But the last 3 games he really has kind of put it together. So I think he's an X factor in this game.
I'm hoping Knupple's off as long as he's not getting the shots. I know he can attack. I know he can attack.
No love for the Knipple triples.
I was gonna say I know he can attack the rim too. It's like sneaky.
Yeah.
Take away his. So for Duke fans, Illinois will take the 3 away, and they like to force mid-range 2s.
Right.
They like to force tough 2s, and they play a drop coverage with their big, meaning they're going to give you guys wide open 15 to 18 footers.
And that's why I wonder if we won't, being with Malik Brown being out, if we won't kind of not shy away, but we won't play with the 2 bigs. I think we will play 4 out 1 in with a lot of Mason Gillis, but on the outside trying to spread you guys out and create those lanes for Coop, create those passing lanes for him and Con Knipple and Tyrese Proctor, who's been on a heater the last month.
We haven't even talked about Tyrese. He's a guy who could make that mid-range his bread and butter.
Yep, I'm expecting Proctor and Knuppel and to be the ones. I was going to say the Clemson game, I saw that freshman that you guys pull in off the bench who just shoots. He can make it from 25 feet.
Yeah, Isaiah Evans. So Evans and Knipple are like Coop is going to be Coop for the most part. I think Malawatch will do Malawatch type things down low. It'll determine to be how active he is on the game and everything else. But if Knipple and Isaiah Evans are both on, like that's the difference between Duke winning or playing a close game and then Duke blowing a team out. Is those guys like really being on? And that's not just for Illinois, it's for most teams in the nation. It's just, I mean, with the amount of firepower this team has in particular, it's like if those guys are on, then that's tough to deal with because that's a lot of people on your scouting report that you have to account for and say, okay, we're funneling the ball this way, and if it's working for them, then that's just a tough night.
And to me, the X factor will be, Illinois is the number one rebounding team in the country. So Perez Johnson being out though hurts that. So
that's a big deal, right? Like I think that's a big deal.
I think to me, if Perez Johnson was healthy, like it would have probably been a more close line. Mm-hmm. I would have been like, I would pick Illinois if they were going to win the rebounding battle, but
right.
Not with it how it is right now. Wisconsin out rebounded Illinois last night. Illinois did make double-digit threes, so I think they're going to have to do that to have a chance to keep it close and give them a chance for an upset for sure.
Sure. Well, Ryan, thank you for coming on, man. Like I said, everything with the College Huddle, this has been great being able to kind of get these collabs and everything. So, man, tell us.
I'm looking forward to this post. This when you guys post it, I'll retweet it, and obviously, good luck Saturday, and we'll do it again for. Are you guys just a hoops podcast, or you guys?
We are. Yeah.
Okay. If you have a Duke football podcast coming up, Illinois and Duke play in September. Yeah, there we go.
That's in September, right? Yeah, that's Bull City Coordinators. They're also College Huddle. Look for those guys. They're the Duke football podcast.
Okay, will do. Hey, you guys, appreciate your time. Thank you,
man. Thank you, man.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, awesome.
5 Point Play podcast. You see everything here on the screen. Catch us on Patreon, X, YouTube, everywhere. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you. Thanks again for Ryan Schroat from the. Tell us one more time, Ryan, about the podcast.
Keeping it orange and blue on YouTube. Yep, and it's at 200 columns, but in the name of the YouTube, there it is. Keeping it orange and blue podcast. It's on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. And my X handle is at 200 columns Ryan. You'll see that when they tag me and post all this.
Yep. If you're around on Saturday, we always do spaces pregame, postgame, and stuff for the games and stuff. So we'll probably be on about 45 minutes prior to. So
you know what?
I'll shoot you the invite.
Let's see. Count me in for the pregame.
Okay. I'll shoot you the invite.
Yeah, we'll talk. We'll have some. I'll talk some shit, man. All right. We're gonna fucking run you off the court. Okay.
That's spaces, baby.
All right. See you guys.
Take care, man.
Yeah.